Hi, welcome back. It's actually the next part of the tutorial after marinating that top round, so we're gonna just jump right into it. Go ahead and get you guys on a good setup here with the camera so you can see what we're working with. Let me get you right. There you go, that's a good view. Okay, so we have that bowl out again. As you open that, you get that smelling in good. Beautiful. So, we're going to remove our watch because we, like always, don't want cooking jewelry. And we're going to sanitize, right? And for how long? 20 seconds, of course. Nothing less. A little more is okay. You want to get a good lather. Really good lather. Pass up a little bit past, maybe 3 inches past the wrist. A good lather in between the fingers and a rinse. As you're rinsing, you want to rinse from the wrist down. Water hot enough for you that you can stand, and that's going to get all those germs off of you. Help keep your family safe. Pardon me. You can actually leave that water running. Go here to our dry towel, firm dry, turn it off, and we're ready. Gonna prepare ourselves with our apron, and we're ready for our adventure. So we'll get right into it, remove that lid, discard. We're actually gonna get a helpmate here. Watch this. Now, remember, we created an au jus with a breakfast steak on the tutorial previous. And we blended that with the mixtures of those great seasonings that you chose. We put a little Marcella cooking wine in it. We added a little oil to it, all incremented. See how that pulls out? See how the color is actually different than that red color that we saw earlier when we placed it into the bowl. Those drippings and that juice in there, that marinade, we're gonna leave that in there. Just move that to the side here. We're going to get back to that momentarily. We need that. That's all good love in there. Okay. Now, we're going to work with this top round. One standard chef knife, as always. Remove your sleeve. Firm handle. Practice our gripping. Always, always safety. Safety around. I have a good firm grip in the back part of my hand. And this is gripping up here. So I'm firm. On the other side, you see, I'm actually in the position of this, and I have all motion. Again, I'm going to have my hand this way at all times so that I can create a good, safe environment for my cutting. Here, we're going to go right down this back piece here, as you can see where the meat slice is going to angle our knife and do a slicing motion. Let the knife work itself, and you see, that comes apart nicely. This is going to be so delicious and so tender. If you have to, bring your knife up. Small cut. Again, let the knife do the cutting and just rock it back and forth. And we're done. We're going to work with this smaller piece here first. Because we're going to actually be partaking in the flavor that we had, this fat that I'm now not going to discard, but just remove from the meat, we're going to just place it in the pan. So later upon serving, it doesn't end up on any of our plates. Nobody wants that. So we're just going to work the knife. And you're going to take your time. You're going to actually hold it with one hand, pulling the fat away from the protein, and rocking the knife back and forth. Still the same grip on the knife. The knife is just actually in the reverse, and I'm still holding the knife the same way. And I'm just actually nicely just rocking that back and forth, using the full length of the blade, giving it a small pull on the fat, actually resting the back of my hand on the protein to create a steady cutting environment. This is great. This is coming off beautifully. And that's what you want. Very little flesh left on the fat. And that's why we're actually just going to incorporate that right into to the crock pot here we have to my left, maybe your right. And we're going to rotate that and create the same process going opposite direction. Same grip on the knife. Taking our time, we're going to just set that to the side. We're not going to get rid of that. Now that fine piece there, look at the color on that. That is gorgeous. That lets you know that that meat allowed itself to blend and mesh with those flavors that we created. It's that browner color on the outside of it, and on the inside, that flesh is nice and pink. That's what you want. We're going to begin our cutting, and that's just going to be nice, biteable pieces here. Pieces like that. And it's going to be rough. We want those pieces to be nice and thick. You want that juice and that flavor to still absorb, and that's nice. That's a beautiful texture there. You still have the marbling of the fats that's still in the meat, and that's going to break up the enzymes very well. We're cutting this out of bias today. Biases are good, diagonal. It's going to be beautiful. And how it flavors, and you want to find the grain of the meat. And you see how when you slice that, you're not cutting against it and releasing bad enzymes into the meat. You're actually allowing it to continue to tenderize as it absorbs the cooking juice. Now, before we started this afternoon, I had already began the crock pot. I actually took some of the marinade that we had in our bowl, and I allowed that to begin to warm up, in our crock pot. And that's actually turning out very nicely. You can start to see the condensation is leaving the top of my crock pot, which lets me know that it's cooking at the right temperature that I need it to be at. And I'm just working my way around this piece of top brown here. Just move that there for you to see how that pink color there is in the meat, the different colorations. That's what you're looking for. Over here, I found a different way that the grain of the meat is going, so I'm just going to cut along that way. And again, still nice pieces there. That's nice. Look at that. That's nice. And I'm taking my time. I'm making sure before I begin my cut I'm comfortable, and I'm letting the knife work for me. And that's what we want. Nice. Every piece. And the more you cut into it, the more you're going to see that tenderness, that color. Look at that. I'm ecstatic. This is going to be great. It's going to be beautiful. Now, are we going to add any more seasonings to this? Of course. Of course, of course. Lightly. Lightly. Now, you can add greens as far as a bay leaf. Bay leaves is very earthy, and that brings out more of those good flavors, as well as a good thyme leaf. That'll be good too. Look at that marbled fat in there. That's what you want. That's going to melt inside that piece of meat right there so vigorously. People are going to be trying to fight over that one piece. That's some good stuff there. And we're just taking our time. I'm holding that piece there. I actually don't want that piece, so I'm going to reposition my knife. Let the weight of the meat hang. Fold it over like such. Lay it on the counter. Press down and rock that knife. And let that work for you. And look at that. No fat. All fat, no meat. And that's how you want it. And go right back in. Find your grade. Take your time. See how you want this last piece cut up. I want to go this way with it. And that's going to give me actually 3 good solid pieces. And that's good there. That onion there. You're going in there too, guy. Look at that. Folks, if you're all following along with us, with everything that we've been doing with this top round, then things should be looking good for you as well at home. And I'm happy that you all joined us here today. So we're going to go in with a light little hand rinse here. Still, keep my one hand. Both hands clean now. Get them back clean. Also, as always remember I'm going to place that knife blade out away from my fingers or body. So if I need to work here, I don't accidentally cut myself. Let's go right into the seasoning. I'm actually going to do a little secret blend. Nobody can know what this one is. Always keep a little secret one to yourself. That's how you keep people coming back for more. Oh, let's go over to their house. They always make that good top round. We're going to go right behind that with a little basic table salt. Never over the food. Let's get our shake on right. Okay. Just ever so lightly. Ever so lightly. That's going to help marry those flavors together. I'm going to go crazy a little bit. I'm going to get out my soy sauce. I'm actually going to do a nice little shake. That's going to give it a good bite. That kind of taste that I was looking for. I'm going to go right behind that with a little Vino de Cornar, part of my pronunciation, Vino Blanca, and that's just a cooking wine. And that's going to be fabulous. Going to close that back up. And I'm just going to take my hands and I'm going to just press. This is how you want it. I'm going to actually move that knife a little further away from me, just for safety. I'm going to take that piece of fat that was marinating, that we decided to keep, that was on that there, just for flavor. And I'm just going to go ahead and add that right to my crock pot. And that's going to start to cook on its own and blend in with those flavors. And with these pieces here, I'm pressing. I'm pressing. We're not beating the meat. We're loving it. We're loving it. Pick it up. Love it. Marinate those flavors inside of it. This is what you want right here. A wise man told me you got to love your food for it to love you back. This is going to be good. And see, as I'm maneuvering this through my fingers, I'm actually feeling for any obscene pieces that I don't want on those pieces of meat. Like that piece there. And that's okay. I can just simply pull that off and go right back into massaging those flavors in. This is going to be good. And you can smell it. Let's get our wave. Oh, this is going to be so good. You know, when I do my shimmy, I'm working. I'm loving it. I want you guys to love it. Excuse me, to love it. Enjoy it. Because when you sit down, you realize you didn't have to spend any extra money outside your normal budget. You didn't have to get all, what am I going to wear? Are we going to match? Can I take everybody? This is going to be something that the entire family can enjoy. They're going to love that. You can actually flip all of that over. Just love on it a little bit more. Gonna get a good rinse on my hands. Right? And we're gonna actually remove our crock pot top. Crock pots can be a little tricky. I'm gonna hold that there with a pot cover. Make sure I don't burn myself. I have some helpmates here. I'm gonna stir that up. That looks great. That looks great. I'm actually going to get you a little turn on the camera there. And that's how it should be looking. Again, that's the marinade that we made on previous. We added the onions. We have our blended mixture of spices. It's actually warming up very nicely. We actually have that piece of marinated fat. That's actually just going to serve as another flavoring agent. That's going to bind everything together. And it's going to come out nicely. That's definitely not going on anyone's plate. That's why we wanted to make sure we removed it from the protein itself. All right, there's that back. We're going to let that go for about a good 5 minutes. As I rinse off my hands, I'm going to actually remove this protein before we add it, and I'm going to get it into a bowl. And all those good juices on there, we're just going to pick up some more there. A couple onions that we missed. Gonna give this a soft top. And we're gonna put that into the refrigerator for a moment. That's gonna go on the bottom shelf currently because it's the only protein raw in our refrigerator right now. And there's no chicken. As long as the chicken's not above any of our protein, any of our other proteins. Excuse me. Get rid of some of that bad part, those bad parts we don't like. Get a good, nice, solid cleanup. That way we can go into cutting up our onion. That's going to enhance our flavors as well. They're going to do a very large chop on those. And then that's going to cook off very nicely in our crock pot all together for roughly about 5 or 6 hours. Now everybody can start it at different times, of course. All depends on when we're serving our families. My husband and I eat a little bit later than some, maybe, and earlier than most. That's a good clean surface for us. So we're going to move right into this. I'm actually going to wash off my knife, sanitize, because I was working with that raw milk protein. So I'm actually going to get a good chop on this. I'm not going to do it this way. Best way to cut flat surface to flat surface. You want to find a flat side. Now, when we began to cut the onion, yes, it was round. So we wanted to get it on a good solid, hold it on this, on this way here to get it. Now that it's a little bit halfway through side, we're going to start with the back part of the knife here. And we're going to just enter into the onion ever so much. And then we're going to go to the side. Same technique and go down. Try to keep your wrist level. And you get a good nice slice. We're going to repeat that process. If you have to, over the top. My hand is out of the way. My thumb actually is tucked neatly. And that's how I did that. One more time. My hand is now flat across. Safety first. Across the top. And I'm going down, straight down, rocking, boom. This piece here, we're not going to discard. We're going to place that to the side. And again, just down the middle. One turn, down the middle, and we're done. I'm going to actually add that in now. Not all, just some. Get that in there. And that's smelling great. Let's get that out of your visual. And let's go right back into the protein. Let's take our time. And because that crock pot is actually warming and the fluid is not hot, I'm just going to go in bare hand and I'm going to position that protein right in there. Make sure that's all nestled down deep inside those juices. And allowing that to submerge. Get a little tilt on the camera there. And this is how you're making sure and guaranteeing that all those pieces are getting love, each piece. That way when they hit those dinner plates, your mouths fall in love. Position the camera for you. Get those last few pieces in. And that, ladies and gentlemen, and actually my fingers are touched. That liquid in there is nice and warm, which lets me know that it's working. That last little bit of au jus, this, we're actually going to just add that on top. Pardon me. Let's get our helpmate back. And we're just going to add that there. All right. That actually looks really good. Okay, we're going to get rid of these onions here. We're actually going to store them inside of a nice bag here, storage bag. Nice little storage bag. Going to use for another occasion. I want to finish chopping up the rest of this onion, so I'm just going to proper technique, fingers down like a bear claw, firmly proper handling on the knife. One chop down, and that's good. This part, no good part. Just gonna get rid of that. Thank you, Mr. Onion. Oh, blade out. This is nice, working on a clean surface. Everything can go into the bag, all parts and pieces. And we can use this for another adventure. Another chime. That we become one-on-one with our kitchens. Okay. Everything turned out great. Thank you for choosing, pardon me. Thank you for choosing 5StarRdy Catering. We're actually just gonna let this cook and render down. It's gonna all marry well together. The things are gonna come out beautifully, and I can't wait to see you back next time. So we'll see how it turns out. Bye-bye.